Alright, so I am back with the final video in this little experiment, the series that I've been doing just to revive an old SCADA system. Okay, once again, just to remind you, there's a link up above to the project page on Hackster for everything I'm doing in this little series here. If you missed the previous videos, then you can go to that link and see them, okay? And as the code is published as well. Alright, so let me tell you what I did today. So I had reached this far in the previous video, acquiring data via Modbus RS485 from the old RTU, sending that one piece of data, which was an analog, to the cloud, and then testing to see if it was published, subscribing to the topic using Node-RED. That's where I had reached. So today what I did is sort of completed my experiment. Happy to report it worked. Not the way I thought the path it would work on. Let me explain. So the point of having Node-RED here, right, was since this is a really old version of Wonderware InTouch, it essentially needed a Modbus TCP server to read from. So I was gonna use Node-RED to subscribe via MQTT to the single topic here, and then take that value and drop it in a Modbus server, and then have Wonderware read it, right? And my plan was, I don't have Wonderware, but plan was just to use something called ModScan, which is a Modbus master simulator, just to read it. If it could read it, Wonderware can read it, right? So I started using Node-RED. The Modbus server node in Node-RED proved to be kind of buggy, so I was getting frustrated tracking down the bug and seeing what people were doing. And in addition to that, the default implementation didn't allow the network port to be lower than 1000. And Modbus TCP is 502 by default, and I want it as 502 by default. Okay, so I saw, based on my research, there were ways of getting around the whole lowest port is 1000 to get it 502, but it was just very involved and I was getting impatient. Alright, so what I did is fell back on in my safe place, which is .NET programming, right? What I did is wrote a small .NET application, test application, bare bones, to subscribe to the topic, and then create a Modbus server and put the value in there so that ModScan could read it, which means InTouch would be able to read it. Alright, so let's see what that's like. Okay. Alright, first of all, I'm just going to show you here that the Arduino is powered up and it's publishing. Right now I just have it on 4 milliamps, which is 400. Okay. So it's publishing and to the actual cloud broker, and I use these two libraries here, right? Easy TCP Modbus library, why that's taking a while to load, right? .NET library, and I used another library called M2MQTT .NET library, which implemented the actual client, subscribe, all that jazz. Okay, so it's publishing. This is my project right here. It's not a heck of a lot of code, right? I'm not going to go through all of it here, but essentially I implemented the MQTT a client object, client MQTT client object, and then there was a Modbus server object implemented by the libraries, right? Okay, so I'm going to start this. All right, it's started. Good. And I'm going to connect. This is the broker I'm using, connect, and the topic I'm going to subscribe to /analog. That was the same one. I'll say subscribe, and what should be happening is that I should start getting a message. There we go, 400. Whoopee. All right, okay, good. And now it's also a Modbus TCP server. So I'm putting it in the first input register, connect, and my IP address 168.0.9, and there we go. Isn't that sexy? Look at that. Alright, now let me just go back here, use my crappy analog simulator, change it, and there we go. That's 12 milliamps, almost 1200. Change it again, and there we go, almost 2000. So what I'm doing right there is I am subscribing to this topic, taking the value, dumping it as an input register in a Modbus TCP server, and this guy the Modbus master can read it. And this one essentially emulating what Wonderware is supposed to be doing. So it works. I got it. I've resurrected, at least I have a method of resurrecting this system here. Now there are other things to be concerned about, of course, you know, to sort of polish things with respect to the Arduino, looking at connects and reconnects if the connection drops, looking at quality of service on MQTT, last will and testament, all that stuff, polishing up this application so that you know, it could tolerate if the internet goes down, if it doesn't have a network connection, all that sort of thing, right? But the main thing was to get the proof of concept, so to speak, actually up and running, and it's done. So I will put this video as well as the code and everything else onto that Hackster page, project page, that the link is up there. So that's it. Good news to report. Okay, thanks for watching.